The U.S. government. The U.S. government oftentimes will send entertainers overseas to entertain audiences in other countries and endear other countries' citizens to our own as we bomb their neighbors. And in January of 2012, the U.S. government sent 3 comedians to India, which sounds like the beginning of a joke, but it actually happened. My good friend is Azhar Usman. He is the largest Muslim comedian in the world. He's a big brown man with a big black beard. He looks like Santa Claus after he slides down the chimney. So Azhar and I started a tour called Make Chai Not War. Yes, Make Chai Not War is the same one that was a subject of a congressional hearing earlier this year when Senator Rand Paul grilled then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton on why her department spent $100,000 on sending 3 comedians to India. That was our tour. We're in the congressional record. Now, I would have thought that Rand Paul would have been a fan of chai. He's a member of the Tea Party, but that did not work out. So we took along Hari Kondabolu, a friend of ours, a comic from New York, and the 3 of us went to India. My body and my soul were ready to return, and we did our penultimate stop in the city of Bombay, and this very cute entertainment reporter named Sejal interviewed us. And Azhar slept through the interview because he and I were up the night before till 5 in the morning solving the world's problems. And so it's just Hari and I, and you can watch it on YouTube. Basically, she and I flirt very visibly on screen while Hari focuses and does his job and actually kills the interview. And afterwards, I get her phone number, and she comes to see our show, and I kill her because I'm hilarious. And I ask her out for the next night, and I take her out to this restaurant called Indigo in this mall in Bombay. And I was an hour and a half late due to the Bombay traffic. And just as I sat down, I got texts from Hari and Azhar, and they're like, dude, we're upstairs. We're in the Comedy Store, 3 flights up. Come up right now. We might be able to get up on stage, but you can at least meet the owner. And I'm like, Sejal, let's go. And she goes, no. And I'm like, why? And she goes, because you're either here to do that or you're here to be on this date with me. And I'm like, dude, it's just going to take 10 minutes. She goes, well, then you've got 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, no. She goes, 1, 2. So I take off and I run. I climb 3 flights of steps. I'm running as fast as I can, get all the way to the top, see Hari and Azhar, grab a vodka soda with the owner of the club, get his business card, down it, and I crack him up as I tell him I got to go back downstairs because I got to go see about a girl like I'm Goodwill Hunting. I run all the way back down, and I make it with 30 seconds to spare. And she goes, not bad. Well, it was pretty boss because we went on this romantic stroll, and I leaned in and I kissed her right away, and we made out, and we bar hopped all night, and I got back in at 4 in the morning, and Hari and Azhar are still awake, and I'll never forget what Hari said. He looks at me and he goes, well, I got the better edit, but I guess we can see who won. So it began. Long-distance relationship, it's kind of my thing, people. And we stayed in touch every other day of 2012. It was our social media romance. WhatsApp, Skype, and Viber were totally our jam. And we did this every other day, and people would ask me all the time, like, is she cute? No, she's a dog. Obviously, she's totally fly, or I wouldn't be doing this. I mean, it's like those ads against heroin, you know, that people come on the TV and they're like, well, I lost my car and my house and my job because of heroin. I'm like, well, heroin sounds pretty good. I should try that. It's like an ad for heroin. So this past October, wow, a year ago, last October, I call her up and I tell her I want to come see her. And I needed an enthusiastic yes. You know what I mean? Like, it was too far to go for a lukewarm reception. I mean, she was literally on the other side of the planet, and that word literally is used too liberally these days, use it right, people, but she was literally on the other side of the planet. LA to Bombay is as far as it gets. So she gives me the enthusiastic yes, and I make plans to go see her. I get over there, and she sees me the first part of the trip. I do that spot at the Comedy Store, and I kill because I'm hilarious. And then a few days later, we went to Goa. We flew to Goa, which is this little beach town on the western coast of India. It's basically paradise. And we spend 4 days and 4 nights. We literally go for long walks on the beach. We eat candlelit dinners. We hold hands under the stars, and we kiss with fireworks in the background. Okay, like really, this happened. We rode elephants, which is not a euphemism. And it goes swimmingly well, and I get back to the United States of America, and now we're talking every day on the phone. Starting in this past January, we're talking every day on the phone for 2 hours without fail, and she decides she wants to come see me, and she makes plans to come. Now, Indian citizens need a visa to visit the United States of America because our great country assumes that every visitor is an intending immigrant. So we're kind of dicks about it, but they are, so we're not dicks about it. And so it's very hard to get a visa to come here, especially if you're young and you're single and you don't own property. And she had all these strikes against her, but she was going to try to do it. So she made 20 trips to post offices and banks and agencies and all that good stuff, and it was like a 20% acceptance rate, and against all odds, she gets a visa. She gets not only a visa, she gets a 10-year multiple entry visa. Multiple entry is going to be the name of our porno if we ever make one. It's a 3-part series if she's literal. Okay. So she's young. I don't know if I did leave that part out. She's 24. Okay, she's 24. So there's like a 13-year age gap. And I told a friend of mine, I'm like, well, I don't mind. And he goes, yeah, thanks for clarifying. You don't mind hooking up with a hot 24-year-old. We could have figured that out. But this was it. We were going to make it happen. I mean, we had 3 strikes against us. I mean, age, distance, and culture, but we were going to do it. I mean, we had met. I always wanted to meet my wife under some strange confluence of circumstances, and it felt like it was all coming together. Was she the one? This was worth the wait. She was my second showcase. Okay, this girl was my second showcase. It was totally going to happen, and it didn't. It didn't happen. I guess because it was the hardest thing I ever had to do. I'm quoting a fellow Cincinnati and Nick Lachey in 98 Degrees. Hardest thing I ever had to do. Because she was young and she was single, but she lived with her single mother in their childhood home in Bombay, and she's had a job interviewing celebrities like Shah Rukh Khan and Priyanka Chopra and Tom Cruise and Rajiv Satyal. And I was going to uproot her and bring her to a land that she had never visited before, but I looked past all of the warning signs. I guess what probably sums it up the most is one night we were in Goa on the elephant riding trip, and we were lying in bed, and this is the first night, and I was freezing cold. And I know it's not manly to be cold, I get it. Men are supposed to be hot and women are supposed to be cold, okay? I understand, but I can't change my constitution. If I'm cold, I'm cold. What am I supposed to do? So I'm like, Sejal, can we turn off the fan? And she goes, no. And I was like, well, why? And she goes, well, because I won't be able to sleep. And I go, right, but we know I can't sleep, so why don't we try to turn off the fan, and then if you can't sleep, I'll turn it back on. And she just refused. And so, what's the manly thing to do? I mean, am I supposed to suck it up and just lie there and let her get her way and take care of her and protect her and like do all this stuff, or am I supposed to put my foot down and hit her or whatever? Well, I did the manly thing, according to someone who's been with a lot of men. Like you're like the good housekeeping seal of approval. So I just lay there and I stared at the ceiling. There's nothing to do, mind you. There's no TV. They turn the internet off at night, and you can't go for walks outside the bungalow because they're literally wild animals, more than elephants, spiders, and scary stuff. So manly. So I just lay there for 5 hours, and it was a very cold ceiling. This was my door test. I don't know if you ever saw the 1993 movie A Bronx Tale with Chaz Palminteri and Robert De Niro. Great movie. If you haven't seen it, I will explain that it traces the life in 2 snapshots of a boy in the Bronx who's 8 and then 16, and he befriends this mob boss. And when he's 16, he's going to take out this girl for the first time, and the mob boss says, you can borrow my car. And so, that's as good as my Italian accent gets. And so he gives him his car, and he tells, okay, you need to give her the door test. And he's like, what's the door test? He goes, here's what you do. You drive over to where she is. You lock both doors. You get out of the car. You bring her over to the car. You dig your keys out of the pocket, open that lock, open the door, have her sit in the car. Then you close the door for her. You walk around to the back, and you look through that back windshield. If that broad doesn't lean over and lift up that button so you can get in, you dump her. Yeah. And the boy goes, just like that, and he goes, listen, kid, if she doesn't reach over and lift up that button so you can get in, she's a selfish broad and you're just seeing the tip of the iceberg. So I dumped her. Not just like that, but I'm leaving out a billion details, but suffice it to say that if they were all door tests, she would have failed every single one. And it hurt. It really hurt. I mean, this is a girl that I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with, and it turned out that she was young and she was selfish, and I didn't, I thought we'd make it, but you see all the warning signs, I know, because I'm telling the story this way, and it's like Steve Jobs, you look back and you can connect the dots, but at the time I really thought it was going to happen, and we broke up, and that was that. The good part, I guess, is that for once, I wasn't the one with the issues. True, I did everything right, really. I mean, I did everything right. And there's something really empowering about having no power. Looking back and going, there's nothing I could have done in that situation. And our actual relationship was very short-lived. We exclusively dated from January into May, which in LA we call pilot season. And all we booked were 2 non-speaking roles.